Hello and welcome to Cabincast. Cabincasts.
Yep, that's
Nice.
Today we're going to be talking about a series we just finished reacting to, known as Steins
Yes.
Gate.
Yeah.
Yes. Question, Ollie. Is this coming out before we've done any reactions to it?
Not any, but most. Yes.
Okay.
As with many things that we
So,
we've talked
spoiler
about.
warning for people, I guess.
Yeah.
If you've not
That's
seen
spoiler
Steins
warning
Gate,
anyway.
just
Spoiler
general
warning regardless.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Cabincast. This is us. I'm Oliver. I'm joined by Tom
Hello.
and Chris, who did the intro but forgot this part.
Hello.
Yeah. No. Steins Gate. It was a show that we watched. In preparation, sort of, for Star Wars Visions.
Yes. But
Which we've
sort
also
of
talked about
also.
at this point.
Yes. There was an article which showed a bunch of the stuff about it, which you might want to go see, Chris. Ollie can link it to you, I think. Maybe? Question mark?
Nope, because the less
Nope.
Chris knows, the better.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
As we discussed literally on our video, Tom.
I can't remember these
You
things.
were there for that. It
I've
was your
literally just
suggestion.
gone back from working in the rain for literally hours. I'm dead.
It's
Ollie.
true. It's not nice, so that's fair. No, yeah, but it was very cool. It's very exciting.
Mhm.
And I the one thing I will say is I think one of the studios who did it was the studio who did the anime for Chaos Head. I think.
Oh,
It might have been one of the other ones, but there's definitely one of the colon ones that wasn't Steins Gate in one of the studios. But that all looks very cool. That's September, so exciting times.
yeah.
And yeah, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about Steins Gate. Steins Gate. So first thing to say really is well, when did you first watch it?
This is easy for me.
This is easy for Tom, so we'll start there, I guess.
Yeah, I just recently, during our reaction to it, was the first time I've seen this series. Yeah.
Which was what, February?
Yeah, I believe so when we
February
started this.
time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been because February was when we finished season 1 of Battlestar Galactica. During which I think we had agreed that we'd go on to this.
We did, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, yeah. So February for Tom, we've taken our time with it. We've done, a couple episodes a week. We've had a couple of breaks for various reasons. Yeah. So for me, I think it was last year. Kind of this time last year, I think, / late 2019. I watched a few reaction channels. It's a thing that I find myself quite enjoying. And they did it, and I'd heard Chris rant about it at least a couple of times, even though I couldn't quite remember what it was. And I was like, well, I'll give it a watch, because sometimes I won't necessarily watch something, but if someone else is watching it, which is what's happened with Battlestar Galactica, to be fair, I'll then watch it. And started watching it, kind of lost interest a bit, and then kept watching again once they'd finished it, and just watched all of it. And yeah, it was very good. So I watched it all in probably a couple of months, but then also 90% of it in 2 days.
Nice.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I'm not entirely sure of the
time scale.
The time exact. I think I want to say it was 2015-ish.
Sounds about right.
Back when I was a young secondary school student, just getting into anime and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was looking at things, and lots of people saying this is good. So I went, oh yeah, I will watch it then. And it was good, and it's still good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's when we watched it. So this comes from. It was a visual novel game before it was an anime. and it was a visual novel. Was it a manga before it was a visual novel game?
Let's check. Video game, internet radio show, manga, light novel, CD drama, anime series, theatrical film, board game, a live action play, live action TV series.
I just got a lot out of this.
The live action TV series isn't out yet, unfortunately.
Live action.
So
TV.
it started
That'd be
off as
interesting, actually.
a.
It started off as a game. It was the second game by 5PB and Nitro Plus. You know, twinning up together.
Yeah. And then they're the people who developed the anime as well.
I'm not sure they're the people that developed the anime, but they're the people who they probably collaborated on it.
That would make sense. Yeah, that makes more sense. So yeah, we have not played the game. Or anything like that. Me and Tom, but I
No.
believe Chris
I've played bits.
He's played bits of it.
There's not much to it apart from the typical. Why was I saying light novel? The other thing, I can't remember the name of it. My mind's just gone completely blank.
Nice.
Why has my mind gone completely blank as to what that's called?
Someone has wiped your mind. We've changed world lines.
Changed world lines.
Yeah.
Visual novel.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry.
It's just a plain old visual novel.
Elaborate term, but no.
No, it's just completely left my mind. It's just a case of lots of text with like background pictures and pictures of the characters who are talking appearing, and then every now and again you get to choose an option on the phone to do something.
Indeed.
And that'll change the direction of the story, because there are in the visual novel there are multiple endings.
Which I guess there's kind of two endings for Steins Gate, because Steins Gate 0 exists.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, it's interesting. I might at some point have to take a look at that, because it's just about followable at points, I'd say, as an anime. And as something where you've got to read all that text, I'm interested to see how easily it can track. Or if you're just reading and being like, I have no idea what's going on.
I think it's on Steam at the moment. So.
I'm look. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did not play that.
Steins Gate 0 is as well, and Steins Gate Elite, and Steins Gate Darling's Embrace.
Yes, I saw that there were others as well, and I have no idea what they are, and that might be something we can cover in future. But yeah, so there was a manga.
That's interesting.
What's
that?
Game, similar to games you played before The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
What? Okay.
I'm not entirely sure about that, Steve.
I'm sure it has some logic, even though it might be incredibly flawed. So yeah, there was a manga, there was a light novel, there were drama CDs,
radio series,
theatrical film. Don't know anything about that, but apparently it was released in 2013. So
yeah, that's a thing that I've just known.
Steins Gate the movie, Load Region of Deja Vu.
That is a typical name for Steins Gate content.
I haven't actually seen the movie.
Featuring an original storyline, takes place after the events of the series, was released in Japan in theaters on April 20th, 2013, and later on Blu-ray disc and DVD December 13th, 2013. We've not seen that. So yeah. And we did talk about at the end of our final thing that Rynet Axis Battlers did get a real board game, which is kind of cool. And like Chris said, a live action television series based on Steins Gate, produced by Skydance Television, was announced in January 2020 at the annual Science Adventure Live event, and is planned to be available worldwide.
And if it's anything like other Japanese live action adaptations of anime, it's going to be amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
the Japanese adaptations are great. I need to show you Kakegurui at some point.
So just as long as it's not done by someone outside of Japan, we're good.
Yeah, as long as Netflix doesn't touch it.
I mean, it's Skydance Media, which is based in Santa
Well, I mean-
Monica, California.
Oh no. Oh
They-
no.
So I don't know, but
Uh-oh.
hey, you know, it's
It's fine.
Steins
The
Gate
anime's
could
good.
definitely work as a live action. Like,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
Loki works. Steins Gate could work.
Yeah.
I mean, Steins
So-
Gate doesn't
It
have
would-
any overly, like,
There's nothing that you
It-
can do in
there's-
anime or cartoon that you can't do
yeah.
in
It,
live
it's,
action.
it would be 90% just unedited, well, barely edited scenes without any CGI
Yeah.
because it would just need to be normal and a bit of
It
CGI.
would primarily just be the script and the actors.
They'd just be reading things, yeah, moving around.
Yeah. So I mean, if you
In
if
other
you know
words,
that,
it
then
should
you've
be
you can do it.
very hard to screw up.
Yeah,
Should be
It
very hard to screw up.
unless they decide it's
But-
too complicated for an American audience to decide to change
Oh,
it.
Lamau.
well, exactly.
I think that's what they did with or what they did with Death Note is they decided
Yes.
that the main character was too unlikable, I think,
Hmm.
and changed it.
Yes, because we over here in the West don't like unlikable characters. You know, there's not like there's a bunch of those in fictions that people like over here. And oh god,
I'm looking through more of the semicolon games on Steam, and apparently Robotics Notes is similar to games you've played before Halo Master Chief Collection.
Ah. Is that 'cause there's a robot in it?
Maybe.
I don't know how that works.
But Halo doesn't have. Well, it does Halo 4, but they're not robots. They're like constructs.
Anyway, the anime series is mainly what we are here to talk about.
Yes.
Which was
We-
produced by
we-
White Fox and aired in Japan between April 6th, 2011 and September 14th, 2011. And it was also released on 9 DVD Blu-ray combo packs.
Nice.
Each set which featured 2
9.
to 3 episodes, an art book, and a bonus disc containing music and radio dramas by the Japanese voice cast. And then the OVA was released with the final DVD Blu-ray volume on February 22nd, 2012, which sounds really interesting, but such a pain to try and watch.
Yes.
Yes. I have the entire thing on 2 DVDs, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Part of Funimation's Anime Classics line of releases. Those were the box sets, which I'm guessing is maybe what Chris had.
I could check.
Ah,
Right over here
Manga
next to me.
Entertainment have licensed the series in the United Kingdom and released it in 2 parts on July 15th, 2013 and September 30th, 2013, respectively. So there we go.
Is that the
It
box?
may well be that.
Oh no, that's Firefly.
Chris recently
it's not-
moved.
It's not in
That's
that
why
box.
he's doing that.
Mhm.
That's all right. I was saying it was released in 2 parts in the UK, so that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. See, that's the background.
Presumably because it was
of
too
the-
complicated for Western audiences to collect
No.
all the DVDs.
It's in Japan, the main way that they make their money is by selling the Blu-rays, and so
Yes.
they try and make
Yeah.
more money by putting it into more parts, and more bits have to be bought.
And again, DVDs aren't that big.
Yes.
You know, like
They-
I've got
they did put
Avatar on
It
like
was a
15
joke.
discs, I think.
They did put all that bonus
So-
stuff on as well.
And they
so-
do put a ton of bonus stuff on it, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of the history.
Let's
I'll do a
do
rundown
some-
of the story.
let's do a quick plot. Plot. Who's going
Are
to
we gonna-
start?
Are we going to get a Tom run through of the plot that you remember? Or-
I think that's a good idea.
think
Oh, I
that's a
have
good
the
idea.
thing up here. Okay.
Oh no,
So-
just go through what you remember.
All right then. So it takes place in Tokyo, Japan, a specific part of it which begins with an A that I cannot remember because they're forcing me to do it without reading things.
Akihara.
Yes, I'm sorry if I mispronounce things or forget people's names because that's going to happen eventually. I mispronounce British names, so not a lot of hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, it follows Okabe because That's I think how his name is supposed to
Yeah.
sound. Who is a mad scientist in Tokyo running a sort of semi-business, I think, gathering of friends called Future Laboratory, something like that.
Future Gadget Laboratory.
Future Gadget.
That's it.
Laboratories, yeah.
Something like that. With
Something like that.
his childhood friend Mayuri and another friend Daru.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Okabe and Mario go to like a science conference thing. It's about time travel. He talks about time travel, gets into an argument, I think, with the guy who's actually giving the talk, who will be important later, I'm sure.
Yes.
And then they meet another character, Kirisu. Kirisu?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce that? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Karisu.
Nice. Kirisu. That. Thank you, Chris.
No worries.
Then there's a scene with some like toys from Japan because Murray wants one and she gets like a metal one and that will be important later, apparently. And then they find said new character dead because she's been killed off screen, and I guess they report that to the police to go outside, and Akame tries to send a text. But that does something weird because all of a sudden everything changes. And Kurisu is alive, and people don't remember it because the thing taking place because it didn't, because something crashed into it, which may be a satellite or maybe a time machine. We don't know. And slowly they begin to put the pieces together, and they begin to figure out, oh no, it's the microwave. It's the microwave plus the phone plus a TV that causes us to be able to hop back in time, send text back in time to change things, and also do time jumps, which is something that Kirisu figures out later. So they start messing around with it, always a good sign, by allowing some of the various other side characters, who I cannot remember the name of half of them, to come and basically send D-mails, which stands for DeLorean mails, back to the past to try and change things that they don't like, or save people that they want to save. It's only towards the end of the series that we begin to realize that this has consequences, because then basically Mario starts dying a lot, and that's not good because she's very close to Akame, and Akame doesn't want her to die. So he keeps on time hopping back to try and prevent this, and eventually he figures out that the way he has to do it is by undoing all the D-mails, which he does until the very last one, at which point he realizes, oh wait, in the original timeline Kirisu died, and by this point he's in love with her, so big problems. And basically there's this really heartbreaking episode, which is probably the best episode of the entire series. He ends up doing it on Kirisu's advice, and there's a very sad scene, and they beat Ragnarok, and it's the end, but it's not the end, because in this world line they're now headed for World War III, and the only way they can stop it is by preventing the publishment of a paper on time travel. And it's possible that if they prevent this, they can also save Kirisu. So Okame hops in a time machine, which has been rang by another character who's Daru's daughter. Spoilers. Goes back in time, attempts to save Kirisu, doesn't manage it, accidentally ends up killing her, but figures out that the way that the paper that was published was actually Kirisu's, but it was published by her father, who had the paper saved by that little Metalupa, because Kirisu found that in a plane crash fire thing. I cannot remember what it was. So he then goes back in time. He buys the Upa before Mario can buy it, and then lose it. And then manages to save Kirisu. And also do some pretty bad stuff to himself by basically spilling a bunch of blood to make it look like a murder scene.
Yep.
And then everything is fine, and the OVA happens, and that's the end.
Yeah.
I like how your pronunciation of Mayuri's name changed over there.
Yeah.
But
From
shush.
Mayuri to
Shush.
Mario.
I didn't know how to pronounce these things, Chris.
It's fine. Yeah.
It
No.
makes
So
me
yeah.
sad.
The couple of I mean,
To quote American show writers, I'm too dumb because I'm Western.
No, it was, as an overview, it's the Alpha timeline had CERN having a monopoly on time travel, and they basically become
Oh yes, that was the
a
thing.
monopoly over just everything.
The
And
world.
it becomes like
Yeah.
Terminator future. And then in this world, the time travel thing does not have a monopoly, so
Wait,
instead
CERN
it's
of
an arms
robots?
race. And it's a World War III instead, which are the two situations that would happen if people had time travel.
Yeah.
This is why time
No
travel
other
is
choice.
bad.
No other choice. That's all that will happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Which is why
yeah.
the best timeline doesn't have the time travel, presumably.
Yeah, Okabe is the only person who can tell when these world lines are shifting. There's a bunch of other side characters who are
Let's
all
talk
really
about side
interesting.
characters.
Yeah, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go through our set of characters.
Tell
shall we?
us about Okabe, Tom.
He's a mad scientist. Basically, I forget exactly what the thing is he said that describes these types of characters in anime. I'm sure you can say it.
Oh, he's a Jinibi.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
which I don't know the exact meaning of that. I'm not gonna lie, but
They translate it as 8th grader syndrome.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good example of what Okabe is. Just sort of a bit manic, bit mental, going off on random rants and rants.
He's
Ranches.
a
Laughing a
18-year-old
lot.
self-proclaimed mad
He's
scientist.
18 years old. I'm looking at the ages of. I'm going to get Tom to guess the ages of all of them after
Yeah.
this
I don't want to.
talks about
but
them because
okay.
my god.
And he goes by the pseudonym.
Hoi the Kyoma.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is a portmanteau of his surname and his given name.
Yeah.
I guess
That's
it's
cool.
a lot harder for us to know
Yep.
that since it's a portmanteau in Japanese.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I do see like when people give each other nicknames and stuff in anime, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
have no
Well,
idea how
so-
this works, but cool.
I mean, Daryu's nickname is pretty easy because it's just the last two symbols of his first and last name. Because he's Hashida Iteru.
True. That's an.
Yeah.
The way that they like cut them
Nice.
up and stuff, though, I don't always understand, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Maxi Kurisu.
Yes.
Tell us about her, Tom.
she's a scientist from America, but is of Japanese descent, and it basically doesn't take any of Okabe's crap for the entire series. Probably also is 99% responsible for some of the breakthroughs that occur during the show. I would argue potentially the smartest person in the room as well, if you discount Okabe.
Yep.
And yeah,
She.
Good character.
How old is she?
Yeah.
I'd assume in the same age range as Okabe,
So
18
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
Eh,
So yeah, she's a neuroscience researcher at an American university who can speak and read English well, and she's had her research published in an academic journal, Science, and she is very talented. Okabe
Nice.
tends to call her assistant, as well as other names like Christina and the zombie, which bugs her. She's a mild tsundere. Do you remember what that means, Tom?
It's a thing. I can't
I
remember
don't
what
like
the thing
you
is.
or anything, Baka.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah,
she's
so
also like a
she's-
closet, I don't know,
Yeah,
geek nerd. Like occasionally she slips out making references and stuff to like Next Generation and things.
nice.
But
Also,
yeah.
why is Next Generation the immediate? I suppose Star Trek is a bit niche.
Yes, it's in Japan as well. I don't know if
Yeah, it would be
Star Trek's
exceedingly
particularly big
niche.
there. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, she makes some references. I think we caught a couple of them, but a lot of them we were like, well, that's definitely a reference to something.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them
I
are
was
2-channel ones.
I was
but-
rewatching. Yes, a lot of them are 2 channel. I was rewatching the dub, just some parts from it, and when they first see the time machine, Darry's like, "Well, it's not a blue box," but and I was like, that's a reference I do understand. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm
But
pretty
they
sure
did it
that
for you.
Yeah. So they've updated the. Yeah. Anywho, yeah, Sheena Mayuri, Tom.
very sweet character.
Yes.
Dies a lot.
Yes.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Yes.
But does end up living at the end, so that's good.
Yes.
Which
How old
is
is
to be.
she?
Oh god. 16?
Oh yeah, you're doing pretty good so far.
On the money. So yeah, she is childhood best friends with Okabe and is a bit of an airhead, as well as lab member 002, Okabe being 001. She enjoys cosplay and has a part-time job at the maid cafe May Queen
God.
Yan Yan. And she often calls herself Mayushi, a portmanteau of her given name and surname, which is also what Daru calls her, and has a distinctive sing-song way of speaking, and she typically sings Tutoru when she arrives or introduces herself. Several years prior, she lost her grandmother under unknown circumstances, and to prevent her from succumbing to grief, Okabe declared her his hostage, and his entire eccentric persona being for her sake. She is 16, and she is a second year at a
That's
private
going to
university
be my next
preparatory
robot
school
in
that we
Stellaris,
will
Personalator.
never really see. Yes, but yeah, this is true. Okay, next up, Hashida Daru Itaru.
He's the tech guy. He does all the tech stuff. He's also a bit weird
He is...
and also a bit pervy. I think that's probably.
Yeah.
Do you agree with
Yeah.
that comment?
Yeah.
He is.
How old is he, Tom?
I know. It's either 18 or like 20, I guess. That sort of age group, I'd expect.
Well,
he's
I
right
mean,
in the middle of that.
he's 19,
Yeah,
so good job.
it's 19. No. I have been very good with these.
You've been on it. He's an experienced hacker who has known Okabe since high school and is lab member number 003. He knows stuff about new computers and old computers, which is kind of neat, and he is very well versed in otaku culture. Okabe sometimes calls him super hacker hack in the English dub, which is
just all the time I thought that was.
Yeah. And he is attracted to Faris and frequently sexually harasses her. Yeah, well, yeah. And is often annoyed with Okabe's frequent delusional behavior. He is 19, and like Okabe, is a first-year student at Tokyo Denki University. Again, a place we will rarely / never see. He
no
appears,
university for you.
apparently, in Robotics Notes.
Yes, well, he appears in Robotics Notes, but I think he's a main character in
as
the sequel
Dash
or something.
And as a main character in its sequel, Robotics Notes Dash.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Also, apparently, Marase Kurisu was in episode 9 Robotics Notes in a cameo. Or her Atchan name, Kurigohan and Kamehameha makes a cameo in the episode of that on a tablet
there
thing.
you go.
So that's kind of
we're giving Marvel all the credit for creating Combined Universe. The Japanese have been doing it for years.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, they have.
They have. Kiryu Moeka. Shining Finger.
I literally that was all cut off thanks to my internet. Say again, Ollie.
Kiryu Moeka. Shining Finger.
Oh. Yes. She's the CERN one.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Yes.
Quiet girl, had a tragic past, ends up falling into the wrong crowd. If you count the wrong crowd as being a guy who sells electronics.
Mr.
Um,
Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
Ends up involved with CERN in most of the CERN timelines. Also ends up doing a lot of bad things and not making a lot of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet and mostly on her phone, which is a good description of most teenagers.
Mm.
Haha!
Yeah.
That was a funny boomer
Most
joke.
teenagers, you see. How old is she?
I'm gonna go 18 again.
20.
20.
Oh.
She's a little bit older.
No, but
So, yeah. Okabe bumps into her in Akihabara on his search for the IBN 5100, and she is lab member 005. She's extremely protective of her mobile phone and becomes agitated if someone tries to take it from her hands. And she was she mainly texts through it.
Mhm.
Prefers someone by sending them a message because she's very shy, even if they're right in front of her. And she is called, Shining Finger by Okabe, and she is manipulated because she, clearly doesn't feel like she belongs and stuff. And that, even though they take her in, and be friends with her, she
They're
has this
abandoned
other
her as
figure who
well.
manipulates her into doing things that include killing Mayuri. But then that winds up getting her killed as well. But
As they're trying to redo the timelines.
we
Ends up being
rectified that.
shot.
She is one of the people who sends a demail that has to be rectified, and
The first one
possibly-
who sends. Oh no, okay, it's the first one who sends the email.
possibly, even though like in the episode's very rough and hard to watch, it's possibly the only one where they are possibly a better well, they're alive, so they're a better person because they undid it.
Hmm.
Or they're happier, or they wouldn't know that. You know what I'm trying to say?
It's all come out for the best for her in the end.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Okay, next we have Urushibara Luka, or Ushibara
Urushibara.
Luka. Urushibara Luka, yes.
Yes, this is the shrine.
Yeah.
The shrine identifies as a female, so shrine girl.
Shrine Maiden.
Yes. Also kind of shy, I think, as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's a really interesting subplot there with her being uncomfortable with her own body, and
Mhm.
that's why she sends her the email, which actually works somehow.
Yep.
Which is nice. Of course, it has to be undone in the end, which is sad.
Yep.
And the product of another sad episode.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, not much else. She also has the what's it called? The old PC that they need to get.
The
It
shrine
ends up
is
at
where
the
the
shrine
IBN 5100 is initially.
somehow.
Yeah,
Again.
so lab member number 006. And his appearance is that of a female, and he acts in a very feminine way. But is, as Okape will say, a dude.
Otakura.
Yeah. And
How
also
not
close
to be
friends
sensitive
and
about
a classmate of Sheena, who often asks her to cosplay the costumes, but he generally refuses. And has a crush on Okabe. And it's sad. It's very sad.
Although I'm not sure if is that just that timeline or other timelines. I don't know.
No, it's because they touched on that as well.
Okay.
Because Okabe asks, like, once these reset the timeline, and it's pretty clear that they still do.
That's
How old are they, Tom?
now that's a more difficult one. Maybe same age as Mario? I don't know. 16? Question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
16. Oh yeah, your logic made sense.
Yeah.
Kiryu Moeka is labeled here as lab number 5 on the Wikipedia, but that's not right, is it?
Is it not?
Who's lab number 4?
Well, that's Kursu, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I just looked at the wrong thing. Yeah. Kurisu's lab member 4, in case we didn't mention that. I got the names muddled up in my head. Okay, so next up we have Ferris Nyan Nyan,
Oh boy.
Yeah, Tom's favourite
or
character.
Rumiho
No.
Akiha.
No. So, yeah, bubbly, outgoing character, runs a cat girl cafe. Actual thing.
Cafe.
Actually, things that exist in the world, which I didn't know before this series. And
We're taking Tom too.
no, we are not. Absolutely, under no circumstances are we going anywhere. Well, I mean, we'll see. Might
Take you
make
to Hedgehog
it.
Cafe afterwards.
What the? Yeah, I'm going to choose to ignore what was just said there and
Oh.
continue.
That's fair.
What's wrong with the Hedgehog Cafe?
What isn't?
No, I want to know what's wrong with the Hedgehog Cafe.
No, seriously, what isn't?
It's just you go there, you get a drink, and you get to play with a load of cute hedgehogs.
Oh, there's only okay.
Yeah.
All the
Cafe
hedgehogs
and,
actually
Cat
hedgehogs.
Girl Cafe are not
Yes.
the same thing.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a maid cafe where they're maids.
So what you're
Okay,
saying is you
but
set
you
me
get-
up.
You get a cat cafe where they literally just have a load of cats that hang out in a cafe. And you have the same thing with
Why?
hedgehogs. I think they have owls as well and dogs.
It's like how people do goat yoga, but not exactly, but sort
You
of.
just,
Wait,
you just
what?
imagine going to a place.
How have I not heard about any of these? Goat
Imagine-
yoga.
I don't know what goat yoga is.
Goat yoga's where they have pygmy goats and they like stand on you and things because it's good to help you with stretching. So do
How
Goat
does
yoga
that
at
help with
hips on a New
stretching?
Hampshire.
ridiculous, but it's adorable.
Anyway, back to characters. So
Yes,
yeah,
back to characters.
if you discount the weird catgirl stuff, good character.
Oh
Yes.
my god.
Exactly. No, so yeah, she and her father, well, her father basically owns an awful lot of Akihabara, which is to say, all of Akihabara. And she was the driving force behind it becoming the city of Moe in anime. And she tends to add meow or nyan to her sentences. Yeah, she's a character that Tom started off just being like, no, stop, go away. But again, has a very good arc, and her dad
This is a very
died,
good arc.
and she changed it so he didn't die. And then changed it back, and she's probably her text is probably the one which has the biggest like overall
Impact
effect
on the world.
impact because it's a great moment. It's so good.
Yeah, it's where they suddenly realise, oh no.
It's not Moe anymore. It's just tech stuff.
It's just back to the electronics hub it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. Which
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. The change, even though it's not.
Yeah. How old is she, Tom?
How old is she?
Well, she's got her cafe, but I don't think she's running it at the start, is she?
I don't know, maybe.
It's
can't remember.
hers, but yeah, no, I don't think so. She's a waitress there, so
Again, like 16, 17, maybe?
Yeah, 17.
17. Good
Okay.
job. Good job.
Okay.
Yeah, and
my
again,
next isn't her. Oh, sorry. Are you gonna
well, I
go
was just going to say Ferris also has a thing for Okabe, though she's more open about it in the world after the demo. She talks about him being like her knight in shining armor, but there's a few characters who seem to have a thing for Okabe, and by a few I mean most.
Most.
Most of them.
Mocha doesn't.
Mocha doesn't. But no,
Daru doesn't.
and Gary doesn't.
Unless.
Oh
So
my
anyway, yeah, Amane Suzuha, the part-time warrior.
Ah, yes.
Mhm.
Another good character. does some stuff specifically relating to time travel. Because she
Yes.
is a time traveler. She's also
She
John
is.
Titor, maybe? Question mark.
Yep. Yes, she
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that was something I was going to look at.
Actively is sort of shows up out of nowhere and you sort of begins to suspect that she has something a bit off about her.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they do figure out that she is the time traveler.
Yep.
John Titor, and that she is at least on the surface fleeing CERN by going into the past while also trying to acquire the IBN for them.
Something else I'm just going to put on quickly.
Sure.
John Titor was actually a real person. Well,
Yes.
not a real person, but
real alias.
There was a person who, called themselves John Titor and started talking about time travel on the internet.
Yeah, I did notice. They said there was going to be a civil war in the United States in 2004.
Yeah.
Which
kind of cool.
Has not happened. Also World War III, which is a bit more in keeping with the series.
Yeah. That's neat.
But yeah.
Yeah, so she stops off in their time to search for her father.
Yes, because she'd
in
never
a time
met
machine
him.
that only goes backwards. She gives off very what's his name? While I'm figuring things out, how old is she, Tom?
How old is she, Tom?
15, 16, maybe 17, don't know.
She's 18.
She is 18.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. She's older than I thought she was.
Same.
Yeah, same. Guys, same here.
Kyle Reese vibes. She gives off to me like Kyle Reese. Do I need to say who that
Terminator.
is? Yes, yeah. Travels back in time, can't go back. I don't know, just like her scene in the alleyway when she the helicopter or whatever it is goes over and she instinctively reacts. It just makes me think of like the future that he's from and how when he first appears he's in an alleyway. It's a bit tenuous, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. She's cool, and yeah, it's very clear to us very quickly that she's from the future because she always she seems to have an issue with Makise Kurisu, and she always like she hasn't done anything yet. And stuff like that. And yeah, she is John Titor. She is the future daughter of Daryl or Barrel Titor, and her real name is Suzu Hashida. Or Hashida Suzu. And she's also the main protagonist of the side story manga Steins Gate Bokan no Rebellion.
Nice.
Which I'm guessing is set in the
Rebellion. Yeah, I would assume so. And she works for the landlord part-time. That's why she's part-time warrior. And she's lab number 008. I think the last lab member? I'll check my... Yeah, she's the last one. Yeah, because Ferris is 007. It's 008. Yeah. Okay, so...
Can you say her full name, please, Ollie?
Well, Amane Suzuha.
No. You mentioned Ferris, but you didn't mention her full name. You've got to refer to her by her full name at all times.
Ferris Nyan.
There we go. Tenoji Yugo. Tom, tell us about him.
Mr. Braun.
Yes, Mr.
Braun. He runs the electronics shop directly below where most of the main characters meet up at Future Gadgets because they're renting off him. In the CERN timeline, he is a CERN plant / head man, I guess, sort of the type of person who basically sends out the rounders to go and complete
like a
tasks.
handler.
Yeah,
he's
basically.
a handler who's on a handle, who's on a handle, who's on a handle.
Yeah. And
his life sounded like it sucked a lot.
Yeah, he's basically he got lifted out of poverty by CERN.
Yeah.
And in exchange for that, he helped them out quite a bit until he got to the position that he's in. And now he has a young daughter He really doesn't want to get messed up in all of the things, so he keeps on doing stuff for CERN, even if perhaps he doesn't want to necessarily, just to make sure she's safe. Which again leads to another horrifying scene, courtesy of a particular episode where this is all revealed, and to protect her, he offs himself.
Yeah. It is interesting thinking about it now, because the episodes with Ferris and with Ruka are all sad because of what they're leaving behind, whereas the episode with Mr. Brown and Kiryumoka is sad because of what has happened. Instead, it's very sad. He's the protagonist of the side story manga Steins Gate Onshu no Brownian Motion.
Don't know anything about that one.
I don't know anything about.
Let's see what Google has to say.
Let's do that while Tom is otherwise engaged.
Brownian Motion of Love and Hate. Spin-off manga series. Science game visual novel. Details the past of CRT store owner Yugo Tanuji, aka Mr. Braun. In the world line 0.523307%. Do you like that one, Ollie? Is that one of a favourite of yours?
I don't remember.
The story is set in 1996 to 2000 and concentrates on the relationship between the young Yugo Tanuji and Suzu Hashida.
I was going to say, does it do that? Because, Mr. Braun knew Hashida when she was older, and lives in her house when his house burnt down or something.
You get to meet Nai's mother.
Oh. Wow. And, we also forgot to say about Suzu before. The first time she goes back in the time machine, it doesn't work, and she forgets everything, and so she fails to get the IBN 5100, and so she kills herself.
Well, she forgets everything, fails to get it, and then remembers.
And then remembers. So potentially worse. And so kills herself. Whereas instead, after, because the time machine got damaged in a storm, so that's why they have to undo that D-mail to undo the storm, so that she goes
undo her staying after the storm.
Exactly. And so Daru does not know that she is her daughter. She is his daughter, and she doesn't find her father, but she remembers, and she does manage to get the time machine, and she still dies fairly young, which is sad, but then she doesn't because we switch world line, so it's all good.
I'm back.
Hi, back. You're just in time for 9.
What?
9.
Oh, we're doing characters, are we?
Yeah, the murderer.
Oh, yes. Mr. Braun's kid who accidentally kills Mary in one timeline. And that's basically all I can remember about it, and that is horrific that they made a young character do that.
I found it interesting when I was rewatching. There's another scene earlier where you see her running up to Mayuri, like surprising her. So it's interesting that it's a thing that, she does like all the time, and she just slips and accidentally pushes her in front of a train.
Which shows us the effect of what is it that they call it? They call it something. I think they calls it something to reason why.
Yes.
Why she die. Yeah, why she's fated to die.
I can't remember.
It's the Will of Steins Gate.
No, the Will of Steins Gate is the final
thing, but...
Yeah, it's the final timeline.
We know what you mean.
It's a thing.
She's afraid of Okabe, but she gets along well with Shino and Suzuha.
Yeah.
Most
people would be afraid of
sweet.
Okabe, let's be honest.
Yeah, and she later appears in Robotics Notes as a member of JAXA, apparently, whatever that is. So again, that's kind of neat.
Japanese and I don't know. I can't remember. It's been the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency.
Oh, neat.
Oh.
Okay, and finally, Dr. Nakabachi, who we talked about previously, briefly at the start.
Yes.
His real name is Makase Shoichi.
Kurosumi Makase, who is who is
The father of
Evil.
Kurusu, and he's not a
Yeah.
good guy. He is
No,
the
he's not a great
supreme
guy.
Supreme
antagonist.
That doesn't sound right to me. Supreme
Yeah.
antagonist. I mean, he's not a nice guy, but he's
the supreme antagonist.
supreme
We've spent most
antagonist
of the
the
series
series.
fighting CERN. He's literally only the
I
antagonist
mean,
for the last two episodes.
I suppose he is actually, because we
He's the
never
one that
get to
started
the
it all.
beta timeline if she isn't killed or quote unquote killed, which
Yeah.
causes him to go into the beta timeline. So that's all his fault in the first place. And then World War III is his fault because he defects to Russia with the time travel favors, which are his daughters, because he has an obsession with her not outshining him, even though that's like, you just be proud of your children for goodness sake. But he's an idiot,
I
and
mean,
a terrible
you
person.
just, it's you want you want your kids to exceed you, not for you to exceed your kids,
Yeah.
because that's the thing. You would see them go on and be better.
That's like most, quote unquote masters would expect their apprentice to outshine them. That's kind of the point, and that's what you want. Because they were father and daughter, I think that it was more than just the professionalism of it. And so, yeah, and he was just very.
Scientists are competitive.
And scientists are competitive, it's true.
They are. That
He
is
was
true.
just not the most stable person.
You only need to look at
by
the
fact he was
history.
just bringing a knife.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
that was a good point. Just had a knife.
Just had
But
a
yeah,
knife.
scientists aren't the most stable. I mean, you just have to look at the field of science that I'm most familiar with, paleontology, and you can find some insane people.
A load of mad old people digging holes everywhere.
Mate, have you heard of Martian Cope?
No.
Okay, and they're literally fought a war over fossils.
Oh,
Nice.
very cool.
And they were friends to begin with. They were like chilling, and then they weren't, and then somebody corrected somebody's mistake, and that was that.
Yeah.
That's
the thing.
The mistake, by the way, this is I love this story. The mistake, Cope, okay, had reconstructed an Elasmosaurus, the big long neck swimming one. We aware of what this is? Okay, but he'd reconstructed it. It's like a plesiosaur, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, big long neck. Okay, short tail, but he constructed it like a lizard. And lizards, basically, he put the head on the wrong end. And Marsh was like, "No, that doesn't make any anatomical sense."
Yeah.
And yeah, then literally 20 years of competitive fossil digging, some potential sabotage, and an awful lot of rewriting each other's papers, trying to find mistakes in each other's work, and about 200 new genre of dinosaurs named. That was the result. Pretty sure the Americans also had a head of the American Natural History Museum who was also a massive racist, but that's beside the point.
Cool. Anyway, back to Steins Gate.
Yeah.
Endings?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's have a look at these.
So the true ending is that Okabe gets back, undoes all of the D-mails, and then also, when in the beta world line, manages to prevent the death of Makase Kurusu and goes onto the Steins Gate world line.
Yep.
And then also after that meets up with her and it's like they both she remembers some of the stuff and they hang out and it's all nice and wholesome. There's the Amane Suzuha ending.
It's the only truly happy one.
Okabe decides decides to not send a D-mail that would prevent him from pursuing Suzuha. And then he keeps on reliving the 2 days before the original murder of Mayuri constantly until he becomes an emotionless husk, which Suzuha notices and tells him that he will slowly die on the inside.
Which, makes sense.
Which he does.
He does.
And then they both decide to travel to the past together to stop CERN's dystopian future instead of just her going on her own.
Despite the possibility of them both losing their memories on arrival.
Yep.
Which
That was
presumably is what
depressing.
happens.
Yeah. And then they live out their lives happy together, and they remember, and they both commit suicide or something like that, I imagine.
Oh lord.
Probably.
The Faris Nyan Nyan ending,
Oh no.
which Okabe doesn't send the D-mail that ends up resulting in the death of Faris's father, but sends a different one trying to convince her father to not part with the IBM computer,
Mhm.
which does cause beyond 1% divergence.
Yeah.
However, it causes a lot of other effects, including the fact that none of Okabe's friends have any memories of him. But Okabe and Faris are a couple and live together happily, participating in lots of Rynet Access Battlers card game tournaments.
Okay.
And
He's disappointed that none of his friends remember him, but he's satisfied that he was able to prevent Mayuri's death. He builds a new
Nice.
life with Faris at his side.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly happy.
Yeah, and then in the
Ish.
Ueshibara Luca ending, Okabe decides not to send the D-mail that reverts Luca to being a guy, and fully accepts Mayuri's expected death and makes no more attempts to save her, and they spend the last 2 days together before she dies of a heart attack, which, all things considered, is a slightly more pleasant death
Mm-hmm.
than the others. And then Okabe and Ruka decide to spend the rest of their lives together, both of them sharing a pang of guilt and sadness that only they would understand, and in a post-credit scene, they are revealed to now have a child together. So again,
Yeah.
happy but sad.
Bittersweet.
Yeah, like the last one.
There's the Mayuri ending, which is not too sad. Okabe decides that he wants to, he has to choose between saving Mayuri or Kurisu, and realizes that he harbors romantic feelings for Mayuri. Both Okabe and Kurisu decide to return to the beta world line in which Kurisu's murder continues as planned. And after achieving the 1% divergence, Okabe vows to remember his memories of Kurisu and spends the rest of his time with Mayuri as lovers.
Which I don't think we got that kind of angle on their relationship in the anime.
Nah.
It very much felt that they were just really close childhood friends and they cared
Yeah.
deeply for each other.
It's more of a sibling thing.
Yeah, and I think that definitely would work, but I'm glad that they didn't try and fit that in there as well, because it would be too much.
Yeah.
It already is a bit too much.
And finally, after reading this one, this doesn't make much sense to me. It's the Makase Kurisu ending.
Is that just the true ending?
See, you'd think that. But to do this one, you have to have had lots of conversations and interacted a lot with Kurisu throughout the game, which allows Okabe and Kurisu to realize their feelings for each other. But unlike in the true ending, Kurisu's death is not prevented. So she still dies. After spending more time getting closer to her?
I guess maybe he's too depressed to fix it.
Maybe that's what goes into Steins Gate 0.
Who knows?
Yeah, maybe that. Yeah, that's probably what that is. That's probably how that fits. Actually, it's yeah. Speaking of, let's briefly talk about that.
Steins Gate 0.
Yes.
Shall I get the synopsis up?
Well, no, because we don't want the synopsis, because then that'll spoil it for if you do watch it.
Oh, not the synopsis, the intro of it.
Sure.
Explaining
yes,
what the start is.
Mm-hmm.
Steins Gate 0 is basically if he failed to save Makase Kurisu.
Yeah.
And he gets really depressed and traumatized, and he just sort of gives up on being a mad scientist and just goes, you know what, I'm a college student. I'm just going to live as an ordinary college student. I'm not going to talk about any of this stuff. I'm just going to try and forget it all.
Yeah.
Less nice.
And then stuff happens.
And yeah, we will get to it because it does sound very interesting.
Yes.
But yeah, that's.
I'm going to be very sad if he doesn't pop the time machine out again. Just be like, I can fix this because something goes horribly, horribly wrong.
Do you want to know the best thing about Steins Gate 0, though?
If it's not a spoiler.
If it's not a spoiler, yeah.
Mayuri gets a new hat.
Okay, I'm sold.
Amazing. We must watch. Yeah. No, it's cool. And yeah, there's a bunch of other games that happened, and there's comics and all that kind of comics, manga and things that
Yeah.
relate to it. So that's all kind of cool.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Disconnecting from all that, as a series, very good. Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
I mean, again, before this, I've watched Halo Legends and the 2 various versions of Space Battleship Yamato. Clear, it's easily the best anime I've watched.
Are we turning you into a weeb?
No,
Weeb.
that's a definitive
Weeb.
no, Chris.
Weeb.
No.
But okay. Thoughts and personal
That's
enjoyment ratings.
what I was kind of doing.
Yeah. Continue, Tom.
Yeah, it's a good like compared to like I said, the other ones I've watched. Obviously, Halo Legends out of those 3, I'd say is the best. Obviously, this is not including Steins. It's Halo Legends and the 2 Battleship Yamatos.
Yep.
But that one's also kind of weird because it's an ensemble one, similar to what we're getting with Star Wars Visions and what we got with the Animatrix, which I probably also need to watch at some point.
It's pretty neat. Yeah.
Which is it's a collection of stories done by multiple animation studios. And as a result, while I loved the series overall, it was a bit more hit and miss with me because there were some episodes which were like, what? And then there were some episodes which were like amazing, like the prototype.
Yeah.
Which is easily the best out of them. And then, I mean, comparing to the original Space Battleship Yamato, God, when was that released, actually? Space Battleship Yamato.
It's old,
because it's very old, if I remember correctly.
I feel like 80s.
The original was in the 70s.
Nice.
Which is the one that I have. And then there was a bunch of, I didn't even know there were sequels to that. There's Space Battleship Yamato 2, 3, and then the newer ones, which is Yamato 2199. Also, interesting thing about that series, the one that I watched was technically Star Blazers, which is the American adaptation. Because apparently having a ship called the Yamato in 1980s America was offensive enough to the Americans to make them change the name of the entire story and the ship, even though it is still very clearly the Yamato.
Yeah. So rating.
Yeah, rating.
Rating for Steins Gate. I mean, yeah, there's a few things that annoy me. There's a few things that I don't like, but it is easily the best anime I've ever seen, and it's easily one of the best animated series that I've seen. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 despite its faults.
Chris?
Well, I mean, it's one of my favorite animes. I watched it so long ago, and I've been a big fan of the whole shebang of everything to do with it for a long old time now. So I think I'm gonna have to give it a 10 as well.
Same. Yeah, like I could say about
That's
how
a full house.
oh yeah, full house 10 out of 10. There's a few
when
like
was the
bits.
last time that
I don't know if we've
we
ever
had a
had
full
everyone
house?
say 10 out of 10. Like
I've
within
never
9
given
of
Well, there
anything
you
else
go.
a 10. I don't think.
I honestly don't remember, but no, for me it's like is there some stuff that some of the jokes don't always land, or some of the lines are a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit goofy,
mostly the jokes that don't land. I
but
mean, I can
then the dub
does fix
changes
that.
most of that.
Yeah.
So like it's not an issue, and the dub is, as dubs go, still really flipping good. So
Yeah, so that's a blanket recommend from us.
yeah,
3 10s.
Yeah, so it should be
Well,
worth
If you
pointing
care
out
about,
because
if
I
you
guess
care
we
about the
didn't.
opinions of three idiots on the internet, there you
Yeah.
go. Off you go. Go watch
Yeah,
it.
we did watch the sub. It should be said with the original voice actors, and they are incredible. But yeah, as dubs go, also pretty great.
I need to start my rewatch on the dub.
Who are the voice actors in the dub? Because I'm sure I recognised some of them.
Do you reckon Tara?
Yeah.
Is it Tara
Christopher Sabat is Braun. He was when
Who?
I. Christopher Sabat.
Christopher, not Reeve.
He's
Sabat.
Yeah.
he's Watts in Ruby.
Watts?
Dr. Watts.
Ruby, that's the Rooster Teeth.
Which one was Dr. Watts?
He's the guy with the ridiculous moustache, the scientist.
I am
guy.
correct in saying that Ruby is the Rooster Teeth one, aren't I?
Ruby's the Rooster Teeth thing, yes.
Yes.
Dr.
The one
were-
that people
we were
are complaining
potentially-
about on the internet.
Gonna do reactions
Constantly.
to it, but then it betrayed me.
How did it betray you?
He's the voice of the Gauntlet from High School DxD.
Oh, that makes so much sense. That is his
And he's
voice.
also the voice of Garterbelt from Panty and Stalking with Garterbelt. If you've not seen
I
that,
don't think I've seen that one.
should we get Tom to watch
No.
that?
No, we should not.
Uh,
I once again reserve the right to immediately end any of these reactions.
I'll explain to you what it is after this. So-
Yeah, but yeah, there we go.
The fact that you need to explain it off mic indicates that this is probably not good.
Well, it's off topic. It's too far off topic.
Okay.
So there we are.
Listen, me talking about Space Battleship Yamato and Halo Legends wasn't off topic enough.
No,
it was
that's
more
also
adjacently
off
relevant,
topic.
but yeah. But we're done now, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Any? I'm trying to think if there's like any questions or things I could pose.
Are you gonna do your little
Chris will win 100%.
I can't do a quiz.
Can't do a quiz. Shall I do a
can't
quiz?
Well, the thing is, if it's
No,
only,
please don't.
if it regards
I'm not
names, there's
feeling
no
that
way me
I'm-
and Tom are going to remember them.
I am literally dead.
And
I
Tom
do
is
not
super
want
dead.
to do.
What is the name of the ability to retain memories across world
Reading
lines?
Steiner.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You read the thing
What's-
and then you go back in time and God damn it, Chris!
What is written on the lab member's badge?
Oh, I don't remember.
Don't mess with time or else you'll fucking die.
It's each of their initials, but I don't know if there's anything else written as well.
I think it's also the year 2010.
Okay,
Osham Cooper 2010.
sure.
What is the significance of
What
the
is
year
Okabe's
2010?
favourite drink?
DK Pepper.
Yeah. DK.
Totally not Dr. Pepper.
No, it's not at all. Shush.
What is the character song title of this character? What?
That
What
might be
is
from
that?
the
That's from the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Music is also very good in the anime.
Who ate
Opening
Carusi's
and
pudding?
closing songs are great.
Yes, music is always good.
It was Okabe
Yeah.
who ate the pudding.
We've discussed this as well, Ollie. Music cannot be bad, literally, unless they put a wildly incorrect song
True. It's true.
over a non-appropriate scene.
Yeah.
Steins Gate has very good songs.
The
Nice
opening
bit
is
of Kamiko
great.
Ito singing.
Yeah. The
I
ending is
think
great.
At least 3 songs from her. You'll get
Yes,
to enjoy
well-
more of that if you watch or play any of the other semicolon stuff, because she does a lot of the stuff on that. Also, some of the songs of the Higurashi visual novel, of all things,
There we go.
which is something we could get Tom to watch as well.
There we go.
Feeling really, really sadistic.
But on that note,
Mm.
we're going to end this episode here.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for listening.
Yeah.
And we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Yeah, make sure to look at our reactions to Science Game.
Yeah, also do that. It's still coming out every Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cabincast. For more episodes, go to www.cabincast.podbean.com or use the Podbean app. You can now also find us on iTunes and Pocket Casts under Cabincast and on YouTube. The uploads here are quite behind. Finally, you can find us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Cabincast. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.